Hello, it's Cecilia Towns, the Sporty Esquire, and you're here with me for another episode of Workin Women Wednesday, the series where I share with you my experiences, the things that I've learned from my job as an attorney, as an entrepreneur, and my time spent as an athlete. So this week's topic is one that I really hope is going to help a number of women. And this week I'm going to tell you what to do if you think you are the victim of sexual harassment or sex-based discrimination. Many of you should be aware, you all actually should be aware, that Brett Kavanaugh was just appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and that was on the heels of multiple women accusing him of sexually assaulting them. And, one of the things that it did for me is just, it showed me that America still does not respect or value women. But it also just reinforced the need for people like me who have this knowledge to empower more women to speak up for themselves in the workplace when things like sexual harassment and sex-based discrimination are occurring. And so that's what today is about. But not just today. So since we only have 10 minutes together, I'm also going to be doing a series on the blog where I provide more detailed information about what to do, what not to do, what to look out for if you believe that you are the victim of sexual harassment at work or sex-based discrimination. I'll give you definitions, the laws you need to be worried about, all of that stuff. But today, just 3 quick things that you need to do if you believe that you are the victim of sexual harassment or sex-based discrimination at work. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to document what has happened. Document any incidents. And when I say document, I mean actually writing down somewhere, or typing up somewhere an incident pretty immediately after it has occurred. Type up the who, what, when, where, how of an incident. One, it keeps your memory fresh. Sometimes an incident happens and then you don't really report it until sometime later and your memory gets foggy. If you write it down, you can prevent that from happening. You can refresh your memory and make sure that you're getting your facts correct. It also goes to help your case in the future. So I have seen administrative judges, I've seen investigators really take into consideration the fact that someone has documented something. And they take it in consideration, meaning that it goes to the veracity of the person's claim. Oftentimes, the fact finder views a diary entry or an email that documents an incident as a sign that, hey, this probably did happen, and it probably happened very close to how this person documented it because it had such an impact on them that they thought to write it down. And the flip side is when you don't write it down, like I said, your memory does get foggy. When you get into the back and forth between people who are questioning your claims, maybe you lose your confidence. But if you write something down and, someone says, oh, but you're lying about XYZ, it's a lot easier for you to say, oh, no. I know I'm telling the truth. I know this is how I remembered it because I wrote it down, 10 minutes after it happened. My memory was fresh. The second thing you want to do is speak up. And I know this is hard for a lot of women, but I've seen a number of women who had technically valid cases have their cases thrown out because they didn't speak up. Either they didn't speak up, period, or they didn't speak up in enough time. So if you don't speak up at all, and then you go try to file a claim with maybe the EEOC, then your boss or your whatever company you work for is going to have the argument that, oh, well, we didn't know this was going on because, she didn't say anything. So you have to speak up. You speak up to your HR person. You can speak up to your manager. if your manager isn't the one who is discriminating against you or harassing you. But you have to speak up to someone who is bound by company policy and by law to sort of look into your claims and to prevent sexual harassment from occurring, or sexual-based discrimination from occurring in your workplace. So that's typically not like one of your regular coworkers. I mean, a lot of women, are getting sexually harassed and they confide in their other coworkers, but that person usually is not under a duty to tell what's going on. And they're also, on the flip side, not under a duty to maintain confidentiality. So the safest bet, if you would like to keep it sort of your complaint or your concerns under wraps, but you also want to make sure that your complaint is heard by the right people so that it stops happening, you tell someone in HR. The other issue is when you tell the person or you tell the company representative. For a lot of matters, you have maybe 45 days to report the issue. Or in a lot of cases, maybe it's 90 days. You don't have 2 years to report the incidents of sexual harassment or sex-based discrimination. So you can't wait forever. Document it, give yourself enough time, but don't wait too long. Because the other issue with telling people is if you tell someone in your office, too late in time, then that's their defense, that the statute of limitations has run its course. This woman is time barred from bringing her claim. So make sure you find out whatever the length of time is that you have to file or to notify your employer of the issue, and make sure you're documenting it, make sure you're telling your employer within that timeline. And the third thing you want to do is you want to file the formal complaint. I've seen a lot of women have the courage to come up and say, oh, well, I'm telling HR that this thing happened. And they figure out, well, HR or the company is not responding to my complaint in a way that I think is sufficient, or the behavior continues. Then you have to go file a formal complaint. I know people are concerned about reprisal. However, it is illegal for someone to take some sort of employment action against you if you file a formal complaint or an informal complaint of discrimination or harassment. So that's your recourse. So if you're worried about someone or a job taking an action against you because you filed a complaint, just know that if they do that, that's a whole nother complaint that you have. So don't let a situation go because human resources or your managers don't respond accurately. If they or in the proper way. If they don't respond in the proper way, then you go file your formal complaint. And that also has certain time limits that I'll talk about on the blog. But you want to make sure that you file your formal complaint with the EEOC or your state level employment bureau in order to make your employer behave the way they should. If you don't do that, then it's as good as you never saying anything to the human resources person or the manager at all. So file the complaint when you realize that your job is not holding up their end of the bargain and you're still being harassed or you're still being discriminated against. So those are the 3 things I wanted to leave you with. Make sure that you document your incident. Make sure that you tell the people who are supposed to help you. And if they don't help you, file your complaint. Again, this wasn't enough time to tell you everything you needed to know, but make sure you read the blog, because over the next few weeks, I'm going to be giving you the details that you actually need. Thank you for watching another episode of Workin Women Wednesday, and I hope more of my soul sisters have the courage to speak up against the systems that are trying to oppress us. I'll see you next time.